Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel where it's all about helping you design a life you love, one powerful decision at a time. Today, we are going to talk about the 3 reasons that trying to be happy is ruining your life. And part of this I will be talking about from experience, actually probably all of it. But here's the deal. A few years ago, it's been a while now, there was this quote card that was being shared all over social media. And it said, "Your child doesn't need a perfect mom. Your child needs a happy mom." And this was getting shared everywhere. And this sounds great, right? It sounds like, oh, like, okay, cool. Like we don't, we're taking the pressure off moms. We don't have to be perfect. And so it was getting shared a lot. But for me, I read that as being a happy mom or being a mom that's happy all the time can sometimes be just as difficult as being a perfect mom. Motherhood is a challenge, period, right? And you run the gamut of emotions just in one day. But then we also have all of the outside circumstances that are happening. As of right now, the time that I'm recording this, we are about 2 years into COVID and everything that has come along with that. And while our outside circumstances do not create our feelings, even though we think that's true, that is for another video. Today, I want to talk about trying to be happy and really the detrimental effect that that has. So number 1, trying to be happy doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You know it, and I know it. It doesn't work because basically we are lying to ourselves and others. You're not buying it. You know how you feel. You know what you're thinking. You know the way that you feel. And so trying to lie to yourself and try to be happy when you are not, is basically trying to lie to yourself. It's also lying to others. It's not showing them authentic emotion, showing what's really going on with you. Now, I'm not saying like you need to explode all over your children in anger or anything like that, but I'm just saying this idea that I must be happy and that I'm plastering on this big smile whenever that is not really what's going on with me inside. It keeps people from really knowing what's going on with you. It keeps you from being able to reach out and access help. You also feel like a failure, right? Because you're trying to do something that doesn't work. And so the whole time that you're trying to be happy, trying to kind of fake it till you make it, your brain is telling you that you're failing at it. So now you've got whatever was going on before with, whatever you're feeling that isn't happy. And now you have the feeling of failure, which definitely doesn't help things any. Most likely you're also feeling frustrated. And if you're a mom, you're probably also feeling guilty. Because maybe you read that quote card and you have this belief that you should be a happy mom, that your kids need a happy mom. And so therefore you are failing and you feel guilty about it. The second reason that trying to be happy is ruining your life is because it keeps you from feeling your actual feelings. Now, this is really, really important because whenever we don't actually feel our feelings, a lot of times it leads to buffering. So buffering is something that you do whenever you are trying to avoid feeling your feelings, but usually it's an unwanted behavior. It looks like maybe binging on Netflix. It looks like overeating, over drinking, overspending. Those kinds of things, they're unwanted behaviors that we do to try to avoid feeling whatever we're feeling. And so whenever you're, kind of trying to force yourself to be happy and you're putting on this mask, for lack of a better word, then that can lead to these unwanted behaviors that, you don't really want to be doing. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing a good binge session on a Netflix show or a show that you really love. But you know the difference between doing it because, oh, this is a show that I love, and, oh, this is me doing it to just kind of numb out and avoid what's going on in my life. The third reason that trying to be happy is ruining your life and your motherhood is that you actually show up worse as a mom than you would have before. Because of course, just like we talked about, I'm doing a lot of this buffering behavior, right? I'm doing a lot of this unwanted behavior to avoid feeling my emotions. And then along with that, when you are trying to be happy, you are very self-focused, right? You're thinking about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're projecting, and you're not just being in the moment with your family and with the people that you love. And so you are really thinking about what's going on with you. And I would even say that whenever you are going for an emotion of happiness, focusing on yourself and basically what you are doing wrong is not a great way to make that happen. So I'm going to propose something different. I'm going to say that your child needs a mom that's willing to feel her emotions and can also teach her, the child, how to do the same. This is not easy work, but it's certainly more actionable and it will give you much better results than trying to be happy. So when my oldest daughter was very little, our second daughter passed away. Happiness was not an emotion that I was feeling a whole lot during that time. I remember talking to her pediatrician at one of her child checkups, and he told me, he was like, let her see your emotion. Don't hide it from her. Let her see you go through the process of grieving. Let her ask questions. Don't try to slap on a happy smile and pretend that everything is okay when everything is not okay. And he was saying that from the perspective of her doctor and what was best for her, not necessarily what was best for me as the parent, but what he thought would be the most helpful for her. And I can tell you that it absolutely was and has been. But it was helpful for me as well, because here's what I know. Whenever you are willing to feel your emotions, you increase your capacity for happiness and joy. It's kind of weird how that works, but it's kind of like there's this continuum of feelings. And if you're keeping yourself from feeling bad, right? And you're kind of forcing yourself to be happy, then you're kind of only going this far on the happiness scale. And you can kind of only feel emotions from here to here. But whenever you allow yourself to feel really bad, then you allow yourself to feel really good. And so if you are wanting to be able to really experience happiness and joy, then being willing to feel the negative emotions as well is really important. That increases your capacity to feel those emotions and experience those emotions. And then also what results is less buffering behavior. As we talked about before, like I've noticed this in my own life. Whenever I am, trying to fake it till I make it happiness wise, I am not showing up the way that I want to. I'm binging out on Netflix more. I used to drink more alcohol. I think this is common for a lot of moms. It feels like the top is about to come off the pressure cooker a lot of the time. It feels like, you're just kind of holding it all in and trying to be happy, and then it explodes all over the kitchen ceiling. But if you are willing to feel your feelings, really feel them, and not pretend that you are experiencing something different or feeling something different than you are experiencing, then you create so much control in your life. So much control in your life. Because what keeps us from doing the things that we want to do, showing up the way that we want, pursuing our dreams, pursuing our goals, everything that we basically want to do in life is we are afraid of experiencing a negative emotion like failure or like shame or things like that. And being willing to experience the emotions and the feelings that come with grief is what allowed me to be able to go on and have my daughters. I was willing to experience that grief and that loss and that pain again, because that was a possibility. Like that's the risk you have to be willing to take in order to get what you want. And so the more you are able to really feel your feelings and being willing to feel them and not shut them out and not plaster a smile on your face, the more powerful you become in your life. And I want to offer this one last thing in closing, which is this is what I learned through a lot of my grief experience. That was a time in my life where I experienced the most growth. I experienced a lot of emotion, both good and bad. I felt very connected to God. I was very open and aware. It was a time in my life really like no other. And it came from this, immense loss, but I watched God use it for so much good in my life and for those around me. And I bring this up because I just want to offer that the purpose of our lives, the reason that we're here on the planet, is not just so we can be happy. A lot of that deeper purpose is fulfilled through challenging circumstances, through tragedy. A lot of it comes through going through a refining fire and, coming out the other side like a phoenix. The adversity in our lives gives us the opportunity to grow spiritually, mentally, physically, even, it helps us to grow and it helps us to learn. I'm an absolute believer in having a good attitude as you walk through the challenges of life. But what I'm not a believer in is pretending that you're having a good attitude, pretending that you're happy, pretending that everything is okay when it's not. So mama, I want you to know it's okay if you aren't happy. Be honest with yourself, because that is how you're able to move forward. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. Please hit the like button and consider subscribing to this channel. If you're ready to start designing a life you love right now, you can grab the super simple life checkup. It will help you get more clarity and more direction in your life. It is free and it is linked below. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye.